What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Sideline Summit. I'm Antonio Perez, joined as always by Danny Code, DCU Penn's finest, Chris Coach, CB Coach Boy. We got another great episode for you guys today. So we're kind of staying in the realm of those tanking teams, those teams who are kind of looking towards the NBA draft. We're not necessarily doing a mock draft, but we're stepping into the war rooms of these teams as if we were on draft day. We're on the clock, and we would decide what we actually want to do with their picks. So the three options we've kind of dialed each team down for: do you make the selection? Do you trade up, or do you trade back? So again, this isn't meant to be a like hyper realistic. This is what we would do, not what the Kings GM would do, not what the Bulls GM would do, because Lord knows what they would do. But so don't exactly expect a mock draft. You might see, Kings, they're taking AJ DeBancer, or they're taking Darren Peterson. Picks are going to be made, but that's not necessarily the goal here. But before we get into any of that, make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Audio listeners, make sure you leave a like, 5-star review, download the episode. We really appreciate it. But without further ado, let's just get right into things. So the way this is going to work, we're going in order of the current lottery odds. So we're not going to run it and then, Kings are going to have the first pick, Pacers are going to have second pick, Nets, and then so on and so forth. Picks 1 through 14. We're strictly doing the lottery today. But let's get into it. We'll start with the Kings, and we'll start with Chris, because this is Chris's idea. I was a big fan of it. It kind of gives us a more, it's a little bit more exciting than just a plain old mock draft. So, Chris, floor is yours. Kings are on the clock. What are they doing with this pick?
I think the Kings. I think what you need is a bona fide scorer. So even though I don't think he's the best player in the draft, I think the second best player in the draft, I would take Darren Peterson here if I'm the Kings. I think it's just at a place where you've already traded a couple good guards and now you don't really have one. I would take Darren Peterson here because he's, regardless of what anybody thinks, he's going to score at the next level. Regardless, he's going to score. He's going to be a scorer. And I think for the Kings, who don't really have a lot of assets overall and don't really score that well, in my opinion, score that efficiently, I think being able to pick a guy who can easily come in and average 18 to 20 his first year efficiently, I think that's the best move for the Kings here. So I wouldn't even overthink it if I was them.
Yeah, I think making the selection is definitely what they should do. If they were to manage to get the first overall pick, I don't even ponder trading out of this. As bad as the Kings are, they need a face of the franchise currently. You went with Peterson. I personally think DeBanster would be the better pick in terms of a face of the franchise. Obviously, he's, Peterson is a guard and he can defend, but the NBA now, most of the championship level teams are the two-way wing. The 3-level scoring defensive wing is like the mainstay on a lot of championship teams, unless you have Nikola Jokic, and even the Thunder, they still had J-Dub. So I think DeBanster would be the pick for them, but I'm definitely not mad at, going Darren Peterson, because like me and any other, a lot of other people, Peterson is the best player in the draft. And maybe I'll feel different once the draft comes. Maybe I'm, Team DeBanster. Maybe I'm Team Boozer. Who knows? But
yeah, I'm Team DeBanster for sure. It's just, I think, just off the strength of getting out of that, trading Hallie and Fox is so crazy to me. Like in the way it went down, it was so crazy. That's why I think getting a guard there is because I think to your point.
Fox won it out at the very least. That's something I can defend them on, but Halliburton is crazy.
And that's what I'm saying. Like at the end of the day, they did move both of them, and I feel like they didn't get a crazy enough return for either. Mm-hmm. So I think just getting a guard here, it'll kind of smooth it over a little bit, because I think everybody thinks he's the best player in the draft anyway. I think DeBanster's the best player, but I think, and also we've seen the Kings overthink it and pick somebody else over Luka, or pick somebody else over another guy that we think should have probably been picked, or whatever the case may be. So I just think it's the chance where they try not to mess it up and they go with the consensus guy.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. One of these two guys, whoever goes first, one of the rare draft where it's like you're not really making a mistake there. So, Danny, what do you? If I would assume you have the same thought process as us, but what would you do if you were the Kings GM?
Same exact thing. I think they take best scorer available, as Chris said. Not best player available, best scorer available. And I think he's obviously not the most refined player in the draft. That's why I'm saying best scorer. But I think from a pure go get it bucket standard, he showed he can just go get a bucket anytime he wants. Clearly, that's why he's like, all right, check himself out of the game. 25, we're good.
Yeah, define refined, because I think him and Boozer are like the most refined players in the draft. Like Peterson could be dropped today in the NBA, and I think he'd average 18.
Yeah, as a scorer, but I'm saying
but he's also a dog on defense as well. He's got a handle. I don't exactly know.
Yeah. I'm not saying he's like not.
Where is he not polished?
I'm saying other players might be better on defense, or other players might have other aspects of the game.
You will be damned to find someone who puts the ball in the basket the way he does and plays defense the way he does.
Oh yeah,
so
yeah, that's fair.
I don't see that point, but I don't know. We'll agree to disagree there. Let's move on to the Pacers, because this is I think this is where the draft truly starts. After the Kings take whoever they choose, Pacers are coming off a championship run, and this is probably the first team to truly ponder trading back if a star is on the board. Danny, since you went last on this one, I'll let you get an idea fleshed out. What would you do if you were the Pacers GM?
If I'm the Pacers, I'm taking Mr. Rapper, Mr. Utah himself, AJ DeBansta. I think he pairs perfectly with this team. You run out healthy lineups of Halliburton, any of those two guards that you have on the off the bench currently, or even currently off the bench for the previous run that can slot into the like Nembhard. And then you get DeBansta, Siakam, and Zubac. That's a lineup that made them in the S tier in the previous video that we talked about. So I think DeBansta is the clear pick here. But like, look, if you went Boozer, I don't blame you.
The Pacers are one of the rare teams I think that could look at maybe drafting for fit at this high of a selection. Usually I'm best player available pilled when it comes to these high picks. I agree with you. I would take DeBansta if he was available. Obviously, the way I have things lined up, they would take Peterson, who would be I still think just as good of a fit as the scoring guard alongside Tyrese Halliburton. There is part of me that would still listen to offers, but I need a real like top 10 player. And even then, I still think like Peterson, DeBansta, Boozer, all these guys are so beyond their years that they can fit in with this current timeline. And then once it passes by, they are ready to take the reins as the best player. So I would take best player available here. And in my case, that would be Darren Peterson.
Got something for
Chris,
y'all.
that brings us to you.
Got something for y'all. If I'm the Pistons, I'm trading the pick. And I'm trading it to the Pelicans for and attaching Nesmith, and I'm trading it for Trey Murphy and Yves Missi. And the reason I do that is because I think the Pacers, when Hallie comes back, is ready to win right now. And I think, Peterson went first in our I guess Peterson went first for all of us. Does that count? Because I picked him first. Does that count? That
No,
way?
Yeah. Stick it to like, okay, like you in your world, this happened because obviously I have it flipped from you guys. So,
for with DeBansta, even though like I said, I think DeBansta's the best player in the draft. I think he comes in and can contribute and be really, really good right away. I think Trey Murphy and Yves Missi literally competes this team, because I think at that point now you have your two smaller-ish guards and Nembhard and Hallie back there, and you put a elite three-point shooting wing, scoring wing, and Trey Murphy, and you give Zubac an elite backup with Missi, because I think that's what they've been missing, is having a two-headed monster. Since Miles and those guys have been gone, they've been able to just kind of feel it like with rotation guys. But now having Zoo and having Missi on that type of contract, you might be able to even get something else with it. But I think, and you might be able to even get a young guy in it too. I think Trey Murphy is the type of piece that will complete this team. So if I'm the Pacers, I would trade it, and even trade down. I forget what pick the Pels have, if they even have one. They don't even have one in this draft. So
Pelicans, they coughed up that pick to
the
Atlanta.
Hawks. Yeah, so I would see if I can get maybe 27, because I know Trey Murphy and Yves Missi is a little it's steep for the second pick, but I would do that as the main package and try to get more draft capital with it, because you gave up some draft capital to get Zubac. I think it's a win-win. if you end up getting blessed with the 2 pick, you're able to get Trey Murphy and another big, and then get more draft capital back. I think that.
But like, here's the thing: would you rather get Trey Murphy, or would you rather try to go ask for Herb Jones?
You definitely want Trey Murphy between the two.
I don't want Herb Jones at all. Actually,
I don't want him at all.
Yeah, no. Herb Jones had one good year, and then they kept the price too high, and he still hasn't even been as good as that 1 year. Trey Murphy's just a better player overall, like by far. It's not close.
Yeah, so the gap on offense is so much larger than the gap they have defensively. And Trey Murphy's not even like a bad defender, so it's like,
and he's 6'8". So at the end of the day, you're getting a big wing. You kind of getting a Mathurin, not 2.0, but you know what I mean. Like you're replacing that small forward with a Trey Murphy, slotted next to Siakam, Zoo, Hallie, Nimbard. That sounds like a top 2 seed in the East that can compete, like with JT and them. You know what I mean? Like, I'm thinking ahead with Jason Tatum being back, Celtics going back to being top 2 in the East. That's who you're going to have to beat if you want to go to the finals, in my opinion. Getting a big wing is only going to help when you got to deal with JT, JB, Derek White, so on and so forth. That's my thought process.
Yeah, I agree. Herb Jones's market is not strong. He had the 1 or 2 like really good shooting seasons, but he hasn't exactly struck gold from 3 in a little while. I would truly the Pelicans got a lot of crap. Oh, they didn't like sell at the deadline and get rid of guys. Well, it's like, okay, well, no team is going to give up a lot of assets for Zion because they will always have leverage when it comes to Zion talks. It's like, oh, well, he kind of doesn't play a lot, even though he's been really consistent with playing games this year. It's, you have a history to go off of at the very least, kind of like Porzingis. And then with Herb Jones, it's like, well, it's starting to look like that 3-point shooting season was an outlier. And it's like, do the Pelicans really want to get rid of Trey Murphy? Probably not. So, yeah, I absolutely I would definitely entertain maybe trading the pick. It just, second overall pick for Trey Murphy may seem like a little crazy on paper. It's kind of like one of those Sim 2K trades. And so maybe they can get more. Maybe they can get a little bit more than Trey Murphy.
And that's what I meant. I meant Trey as like the centerpiece, and then like I said, try to get some of those late.
Probably get more picks too.
And that's what I said at the end. Like try to get some more of those draft picks too, because. And I said it's too. DeBanter can be a franchise saver if you do end up moving on from Zion. You give your team and give your fans something else to root for. So I'm asking for a lot for sure, but I'm making sure Trey Murphy is at the top of that list of what I want for sure.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. So let's run to the Nets. Nets are an interesting team, I would say. I can start with this one. So I have them selecting Cam Boozer with the 3rd overall pick. I think he would do wonders in an offense. He would help out Nolan Traore and Jaeger Demon a lot, who I kind of sung their praises last episode. I don't think they're exactly world beaters at the point guard position, but I think Boozer would definitely help, considering that they're not their franchise pick, but Danny Wolf, who was brought in with them, is just not a strong player. I don't exactly envision him being a strong NBA player for a long time, but you kind of look at a lineup that could roll out either Demon or Traore. I don't exactly think they'll play together too much. I would have to look into those numbers, but those two, Michael Porter Jr., if he's not traded, Cam Boozer, and Nick Claxton. Are you going to win 50-plus games and take the East playoffs by storm? Probably not, but this is a very good group that you could work with, I would say. So I wouldn't overthink it. You're not exactly in a position to trade down and get more first-round picks. Last time you had more first-round picks than you can handle, you struck out a lot. So I would have them taking Cam Boozer.
Yep, same.
Who I've become a big fan of, by the way. I'm a very big fan of Cam Boozer, and maybe that's how people love John Calipari guards. I love Duke forwards.
Yeah, Cam Boozer, I think he's gonna be a really good NBA player. Maybe not your superstar, your number one, but he's gonna be a guy that you have to have on your team if you're trying to win. Or not have to, but you know what I mean? He's a guy you want to have on your team trying to win. So I agree. I'm going Cam Boozer with the 3rd pick too.
Yeah, not too much to discuss there. Danny, do you also have the Brooklyn taking Boozer?
Nah, actually, I have him taking. Nah, I can't Boozer.
Hey, you never know. All these teams besides the Pacers, are here for a reason. So you never know.
Here's the thing. I could see him do. I could see of all teams. I could see Brooklyn doing some crazy shit and taking like Darius A. Cup here.
Nah, well, Acuff isn't a bad player by any stretch
It's
of the
not a bad
imagination.
pick.
Many
like,
people will
crazy
probably
pick.
say he is the best player outside of the top 3. If I were to pick any team to mess it up, it would be the Kings or the Bulls.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man.
We'll have a rough day on our Instagrams, believe it or not, because I posted a video about me crapping on the Kings earlier. I posted a video about 30 minutes ago of Chris crapping on the Bulls, which I'm sure he loves so much. And his friends back home are absolutely going to love this.
My mess is going to flood, bro. It's going to be so nasty. And then we telling me how
you told not a single lie, man. You told not a single lie.
I'll tell you a joke, but I won't tell you a lie.
Let's go to the Wizards. Wizards are another fun one. They're one of those teams that we had in that SA tier of tanking teams because they were able to bring in AD and Trey and not really give up a lot for it. You have kind of 3 to 4 franchise cornerstones in Keyshawn George, Trey Johnson, and Alex Sarr. And then, you have Bilal and you have blanking on somebody's name, but they got guys is more so the point. So I'll let Chris start with this one. We kind of like take turns going first so we can each get our nice spill. But Chris, what did you have the Wizards GM doing in this situation?
Crying, actually, because at this point it's like goddamn
tears of joy or tears of what do I do?
Like damn it, nobody fail. Damn it. But honestly, I think that might work out good for the Wizards. And I think the player that I think they should take, I wouldn't trade. I would take Caleb Wilson here. And the reason I take Caleb Wilson is because he's a guy who's, I hate using this term because they usually use it for people who aren't that good. But he's like a Swiss Army knife. Like in real life, he really is like a Swiss Army knife. He's 6'10", but can guard legitimately 1 through 4, maybe 5 at the NBA level. We got to see. But he's a guy that where I like Bilal Coulibaly, but I'm not sure he's ever going to be what people may think. He can be an easy Bilal Coulibaly replacement, and then if people are high on Coulibaly, Coulibaly can be a trade piece. I think Caleb Wilson is just the safest pick here. I mean, Acuff would be cool if they didn't have Trae Young and Bub. You know what I mean? Going to get another guard would be cool if they didn't have Trey Johnson already back there. I think it's just so crowded in all the spaces that they have right now. Caleb Wilson, the guy who can play 3 or 4, I think is the best pick here, just because I think outside of Key, he can kind of slide right next to Bilal or play behind Sarr at the 4. You know what I mean? I think it just gives you more lineup flexibility, and I think he's a guy who's going to have a chip on his shoulder because he may be a candidate to fall because he got hurt. He's already pushed out the big 3. Nobody looks at him as the big 3 type of guy. If you ever watched any Caleb Wilson, he's a guy who's always said, like, I know I'm the best player in this class. He said it a lot of times coming out of high school, coming up beforehand. So this guy's going to have a chip on his shoulder. So if you're Washington, you're on a place where you're kind of not finished a rebuild, but you're at a place where you're trying to compete now. That type of guy with that type of mentality, I think, could be good for the team.
Yeah, I definitely don't disagree. If they kind of wanted to go best player available route, that's definitely a way to do it. If I'm the Wizards GM, I know there's a couple teams behind me that are thirsty for a franchise ball handler. The Hawks need one. The Jazz could use someone alongside Keontae George. While Isaiah Collier, I think he's going to be a really solid NBA player. Starting point guard on a championship team might be out of his reach. But as a cool 6-man off the bench, Tyus Jones kind of deal, that might work. Mavericks might be the thirstiest team in the entire NBA for a guard alongside Kyrie Irving once he's back, or even someone to eventually fill Kyrie Irving's shoes. Kyrie has always been someone who is like the essence of a combo guard, a point guard for half his career, shooting guard for half his career. Again, lots of teams that could trade up to get a guard, get on a phone. I know one of them want to do it. That way you can probably get some draft assets, trade back, and probably still get Caleb Wilson because that injury, who knows what it's going to do to his draft stock, plus all like these plethora of guards. I hope teams don't fall into the trap of, oh, well, if our guy doesn't fall to us, we'll just take one of the other star-studded point guards in our draft. It's like, anytime you do that, you know what comes to bite you in the butt. If you got a guy, go get him. I think someone's going to talk to the Wizards. They need Darius Acuff bad. We need Keaton Wagler to go play alongside Keontae George really bad. I'd trade back. I would trade back. You're in a really good situation. No one from 4th through maybe like 7 or 8 exactly stands out above someone else. So that's what I would do if I was Washington.
Yeah, if I'm Washington, they already got their franchise cornerstone, so I take a big swing and a big hack here. I go and try to get Nate Ament here. I think he fits their team currently right now, and he can be a plug and play, and he could be a realistic third option as a wing on this team.
That's a fun pick. That's a fun pick for sure.
Because you
But
can roll out lineups
that could also
with
they could also
Trey.
trade back and get Ament. However, if Ament finishes the season strong and potentially has a good tournament, well, he's not falling out the top 5. So
That's what I'm saying. So, like, think about this. You run out lineups with Trey, Koulibaly, Ament, AD, and Sar.
Block is sitting his butt on that bench for Keyshawn. We running big boy lineup.
I know.
We putting Nate Ament at the 2. We doing it. We doing it.
I think I remember Chris was a fan of Nate Ament in the past.
He's a fan of him now.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan.
Big fan on the. Nate Ament got my attention when his coach said he's the best player best freshman I've had since KD. I'm like, whoa, Kevin Durant we're talking about.
Yeah, Nate Ament's really, really good. He's really good, and I think he probably jumps into the top 7 after the tournament if he has a good tournament run. And I think he's going to test really well at the combine because he's bigger than he looks in college.
Dude, he's 6'10",
and he's bigger than that. Like as far as like he's long armed, like he's a very, very athletic kid. So I think he jumps into the top 7. I think 5 may be a little high, but I mean I'm down. Like I said, I like Nate. I like his potential too. He's still really, really young. He still has a lot.
Here's the thing: people said 5 was high for Khan last year.
Khan is the ultimate role player.
That's true.
Yeah. And if Nate Ament can be the ultimate role player on a team with Trae Young and AD, this team could go as far as they want.
Yeah, and that goes into your Wizards spill from the other day. But let's talk about the Jazz. They're another team. Sorry, let's talk about the Hawks. I'm getting ahead of myself. The Hawks are, again, one of those teams I was talking about that could be real thirsty for a point guard. Danny, what do you have the Hawks doing with what would be 5th overall pick?
I think they have a beautiful player falling right into their lap, and they take Darius Acuff. I think Acuff falling into the Hawks' lap just makes sense. It fits their team lineup and build, as you said. Like they need a point guard, but not even that. They need a point guard who can go get a bucket. Because right now, like you've seen Nickeil Alexander-Walker get better, and you've seen jumps from some of these other players like Jalen Johnson and Reece Shea a little bit. But can you get a player who can bring the ball up every possession and go be your pseudo Trae Young? I think Acuff's the guy to do it.
Yeah, I agree in a different way. Obviously, as I was saying, the Pelicans may trade back. I think the Hawks are like, you know what? I don't want any of these teams behind me getting the guy I want. I'm willing to part ways with a semi-important, pick just to move up one, just so those behind me don't get it. And they'll probably be urgent with it because the Pelicans or the Wizards could even like, well, they said they would give this, and that. And then eventually, if it's out of your price range, you take your loss. But I think they'll jump. And I also think that the Hawks will take Darius Acuff with their selection, whether they do trade up, which I think they could, or they stay put, having Darius Acuff as your franchise ball handler to work alongside Nickeil Alexander-Walker, alongside Jalen Johnson could bode well for them, definitely.
Yeah, Acuff's my pick here, too. He's the best point guard in the draft. He's a top 4 player in the draft. Really could be top 3 if you don't love Cam Boozer. I'm a Duke guy, so I'm cool with it. But Darius Acuff is going to be the steal of this draft, no matter where he's drafted. He's built.
What if he drafted? Wait, Chris, if he's drafted number 1, is he the steal of the draft?
Stole him. Not for real, only because I think. I mean, if the Kings do it, I won't be mad. The fans will be. I won't be. Darius Acuff is cut from that John Wall, Derrick Rose cloth. Like he can come in and change the franchise tonight. And you put him on his Hawks with the way we have it going. Let him run with JJ, Kuminga, Dyson, Nickeil, Big O. That can be very, very exciting. most exciting ninth seed you ever seen in your life. Like next year, it could be the most exciting ninth seed you ever seen in your life. But I think that would be really, really dope.
Yeah, absolutely. Now let's move to the Utah Jazz because before I got ahead of myself. So I think we are. What are we at? The 6th pick in the draft? Two,
Yes, sir,
three,
we
four,
are.
five. No, we're at the 6th pick. So I would be starting on this one. What do I have for the Jazz? So the Jazz, again, as I was speaking of earlier, I would really like a nice, taller, good scoring guard alongside Keontae George. I think that would really round out what the Jazz have going on over there. So with the 6th pick, I don't have them trading back or anything. I have them taking Keaton Wagler, or is it? I've heard it pronounced two different ways. I think Keaton Wagler is how it's pronounced, but I have the Jazz taking Keaton Wagler with the 6th overall pick. The Like in the one scenario where I thought they could have maybe traded back or traded this pick for a shooting guard, the shooting guard free agent class or like exactly market of guys who are like on the block isn't exactly great. It's a lot of undersized guys. Like Anthony Simons may become available, Peyton Pritchard may become available, but you don't want those guys sharing a backcourt with Keontae George. It's not exactly gonna go well defensively. You're gonna score a lot, but you kind of need to round out that perimeter defense, even if the front court looks like Kessler and Jaren Jackson. So I have them taking Keaton Wagler, who has had a tremendous season, has certainly taken me by surprise. He adds to what is already a phenomenal guard class.
Yep, I'm with you. I think for me here, people not a lot. A lot of people may not have heard a lot about Braylon Mullins, but Braylon Mullins is all his comps are Aaron Nesmith. If you ever look at it, and one thing with Aaron Nesmith, he's been a really good 3-and-D player. I think Braylon Mullins is the type of kid who can come in and be able to defend and shoot the 3-ball. And I think this Jazz team can use that because I think they should keep Collier 100%. I really do believe that. I think he can either be the starting point guard next to Keontae or be your first man off the bench where you move Keontae to the 2. And then Braylon Mullins is a guy here who literally can be a 3-and-D guy. He doesn't have to do much because you already kind of have it set with what you have right now with Lowry, Jaren, Kessler, Keontae. You kind of have your scoring options already set. So I think drafting a guy who's used to being on a good team, used to playing with other good players, I think he's going to be able to slide right in and be ready to contribute from day one, especially if they want to be a little bit more competitive next year. I think he's the pick.
And Danny, what are you doing with this pick?
Yeah, if I'm Utah, I'm taking Michael Brown here. I think for the similar reasons, if he fits their team, they don't need another big. Like Chris said, they have Lowry, they have Walker, they have JJJ. They have the flexibility already on the big side. You neither need a point guard or you can go get like a 2 who can catch and shoot. But Michael Brown can obviously fit this team right now and improve their odds. There's a chance this team wins the lottery, though.
If they win the lottery,
we know who they're going with.
Silver's not beating any sort of allegations. Keeping the BYU kid in Utah, yeah, okay.
Come on, no, we've all seen it for prophetic for a while.
And it'd be cool. I mean, but they would if that was the. I mean, like dream scenario if they won the lottery to draft Darren Peterson.
No, Utah's drafting AJ DeMonson. I'll tell you why. This is the biggest part why I think Danny's theory can be valid. The biggest BYU booster is the Jazz's owner, and the biggest booster for the prep school that AJ ended up transferring to in Utah is a Jazz owner too. So if it does happen, if they do win the lottery, I don't care who they need, they're gonna take AJ DeMonson. I'm telling you.
Peterson would be just the dream fit for this team, though.
Wait, and the Jazz owner,
I can't fight fate. So
and AJ really is my comp for AJ is Tracy McGrady. He started off as a shooting guard. AJ's a huge shooting guard, yes. But when you have Keontae and Isaiah Collier back there, 2 shrimp scampies to an extent, It helps to have a bigger two if possible.
All right,
Now,
Collier is short, but he like a pit bull though.
no, I agree. But it was better. What's
Keontae
better next to a pit bull than
Keontae is fried shrimp.
than a Great Dane or a Greyhound next to a pit bull? Now you're really cooking.
That's true. I won't fight fate. The BYU kid will probably stay, but I will imagine Darren Peterson, the guy who hates basketball, having to play for the Jazz for the rest of my life. I will imagine it. Let's move to, again, another team that's going to be incredibly interesting on draft night. Let's talk about the Memphis Grizzlies, who I think, Chris, you are up, who you get first dibs on, your thoughts on what the Grizzlies would do.
Yes, and I was in between two picks here. But in my world, Michael Brown's still available. And I won't say who was between because I don't want to mess up anybody's picks later. But Michael Brown's available, and I think that's where you got to go if you're Memphis. I know it sounds crazy because you have Ja Morant, but for some reason I feel like they want to move off Ja Morant for some reason, and I think this gives you a little bit of insurance. But then as I talk through it, I forget that they have Ty Jerome's other player, so I'm actually going to change who I'm going to pick for them. I'm going to pick Chris Sinak, the center from Houston. Now, it seems like a reach. Chris Sinak's probably not going to go, maybe not go until after the lottery. But after trading Jaren and Zach Edey's health is a little in the air-ish, Chris Sinak is a really, really athletic center. Can't play the fours. He can shoot a little bit. I would go Sinak.
You know what's crazy? I have, after my whole – who everyone in the lottery should take, I said – lost in the sauce guys worth trading back for Tyler Tanner and Chris Sinak Jr. out of Houston.
Yeah, bro.
Those are the two guys I have there, and I can't believe you picked Sinak there because he's hit the tools. The tools are there. He's going to be a menace defensively. He has NBA shooting upside.
Yes.
I don't know.
And
you play for Houston. You're going to be good in the NBA.
And he defends. He's very, very good in pick and roll defense, where we know in the NBA is really what you have to guard now. He can switch up, switch down. Chris is a guy that I think, even if Edey does stay healthy, he can play some four next to him. He can I really like. I think Sinak's going to be one of the sleepers in this draft for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Danny, what would you have the Grizzlies doing?
I have the Grizzlies taking Caleb Wilson in my mock draft. I think he falls here. I think he's a good fit next to Zach Edey. I think in this mock draft, they go get their Swiss Army knife. You could play him next to Ja. I think he's probably a better fit next to Ja than JJJ, to be honest.
That's not crazy to say. Yeah. So, if I'm the Memphis Grizzlies, I think the most important thing to say with the Grizzlies is take best player available. Even if it's a point guard, figure it out later, because this team is not exactly talent. Like, yes, you were somewhere a couple seasons ago, but you have taken that fall from grace. You are not that team anymore. You don't have the luxury of drafting for fit. However, in this world of mine, the best player available is not a point guard. Lucky for them, I have them taking Nate Amen. I think he has, best scoring option on a championship team level upside. His ceiling can be that. Will it end up being that? Who knows? That's why the dude's got to go out and play the basketball games for it. But I think this would be a non-cluttering fit, even though I just said don't worry about fit. It's best player available and it works for fit. So I think it hits two birds with one stone if you're taking a mint here.
I could see it.
Yeah. Anything else on the Grizzlies, or should we get to the Mavericks, who I'm going to keep saying it. Very interesting. Another very interesting one.
In my draft, I think the Mavs, it falls perfect for them. Perfect.
Yeah. Danny, you're going to be first up on the Mavericks clock.
Yeah, I think the Mavericks also kind of don't have the luxury of taking players for fit at this point, after the moves that they just made at the deadline. I think what they should do is take best player available. And in this case, for me, it's Kingston Flemings. I think in this scenario, you have to consider Kyrie Irving to either be a two guard moving forward that could bring the ball up, or just use Kingston Fleming and say Kyrie might not be part of our future plan at all. He's aging. He's not part of this young group that we're moving forward. Go take Kingston Flemings, pair him with Cooper Flag. You still got Lively if he could just be a lob threat at the least. And from there, you have a young core you can build. I think they chose their direction, like I said in the past. And I kind of like what they can go from here if they take Flemings.
Yeah,
I don't think that's a bad, pick at all. Kyrie is very workable with when it comes to that.
He can play 2 guard.
Yeah, he can play 2. He can play the 1 if the dude's not ready. Kyrie's more portable than people want to give him credit for.
100%.
He basically played the 2 with Luka.
He played the 2 with Luka and Harden.
Yep.
He's like a pseudo 2 though. He's not a real 2.
He's not big enough to be like a 2 on defense. He's not 6'5", 6'6", but
he's like
if you need a guy to lead the team in shots, he's not a bad candidate for it. One of the best.
Kind of like the way Maxey played the 2 when Harden was here.
Yeah. Okay. He's not like physically imposing 2, but yes.
Yeah.
Chris, who do you have the Dallas Mavericks taking with this pick, or what do you have them doing with the pick?
Yeah, in my draft, it falls perfectly for them to take Kingston Flemings. I think that's the pick here. It's 2 guards that I like that I left. Him and somebody else that I'll probably say soon, something pick soon. Flemings is perfect. Culture setter, right along with Cooper, who wants to play both sides of the ball. Better shooter than given credit for, better scorer than given credit for. And he's faster than people think. I think Flemings, Max Christie, and Cooper Flag as 3 or younger pieces is really good work. And hopefully Lively can stay healthy. That sounds good. That's a good start. And to Danny's point, I think Kyrie should be moved just to give him a chance to win and let him get a chance to be competitive because he didn't sign up for this. A rebuild. Not saying they're going to be terrible.
To the Lakers.
No. The Lakers should suffer for the rest of them.
Something to consider with Kyrie Irving, though. He did sign an extension. Whoever wants to go get him has to be willing to take on that contract. Well, or if you're a contender, duh. But making money match could be a little bit difficult.
I know a team he used to play for that might want to use a point guard that can handle the ball, can shoot the 3 ball a little bit.
The perfect Kyrie team.
We're not talking about Boston because Tatum's the point guard. So
the perfect Kyrie team is the Pistons this offseason.
Ooh.
He literally can go do what he did with Luka.
Don't give me salivating in fantasy.
No, seriously, I think that's the team. I think that makes a lot of sense for both sides. But yeah, that's what I would look at.
It's too good to be true.
He's going to the Phoenix Suns, Chris. You're not ready for it.
Kingston Flemings was my pick here as well, so I won't spend too much time. We can just roll right into the Chicago Bulls war room, what I believe they'll be doing. Again, this team kind of lacks. Here's what I kind of wrote up for them. I would trade up if possible, be one of those teams to be aggressive and call up. You don't exactly have a face of the franchise, and I think at 9, you might be holding on to maybe one of those like top tier upper echelon guys. So the trade up would be my ideal move. If I were them, I would try to trade up maybe into that like 5 or 6 range. See if you can get maybe like if Caleb Wilson falls, definitely that could be the move because you have a power forward on your roster who is abysmal. I think a little cleanse at that position could help. So try to get up. If Caleb Wilson were to fall out of the top 4, I think the Bulls should immediately make a play to try to get up to 5, get Caleb Wilson, take the risk, even if, injury history, which again, that's one injury, but if the injury, ends up dropping his stock, that's, I think, the play there. If they do stand pat, it's best player available. Giddey is not good enough to stop you from drafting a point guard, and Giddey's a bit of a bigger point guard, so not exactly saying he can play the 3. He's not exactly great defensively, but you can kind of work around it. He's a little bit flexible there. So the main thing I would say is try to trade up. Try to trade up to go get Wilson. Maybe offer a better in this world. Maybe they offer a better deal than the Hawks to the Wizards, and they go all the way up to the top 4 to get Wilson. If they do stay, Michael Brown Jr. is a fine pick, I think, here. He would be the best point guard, at least the third or fourth best point guard that I have in my draft.
Yeah. And in your scenario, Tony kind of plays the role we were just talking about with Kyrie because Giddey's going to still handle it. And Michael Brown's a very, very good scorer at the point guard position. So I like that a lot. What I'll say for me, if I'm the Bulls, it kind of goes to my spiel that I made on Tuesday for the Bulls, trading for Zion. I would try to go get Zion with 9 and center it around 9 and them taking on Patrick Williams to make the money work. You kind of kill two birds with one stone. You get a way better power forward. You get off of Patrick Williams' deal that was the worst thing ever. And you're not giving up a top 4 pick in a draft where, it's looking at to be top 3 heavy. So I don't know what the Pelicans would be willing to do or what the Bulls be willing to do. But that would be my idea, to try to trade 9 to the Pelicans to get Zion and get off Patrick Williams. Those would be the two things, getting Zion, getting off Patrick Williams. And if you can do that in the same trade while only moving 9, because at the end of the day, you do have a lot of guards on the roster. Simons won't be back, I'm almost sure. Ivy may not be back. Giddey is going to be there. Dillingham's there. Like you said, no, I don't think anybody's good enough to not draft a point guard. But if you don't have to and can go get a front court player to put next to Modest, you go Giddey, Modest, Zion, you're cooking with a little bit of something. And at least it's a little more exciting than UC. So that'd be my thing. Try to trade up. Try to trade and get Zion, get off Patrick Williams.
Yeah. I don't mind that. And I don't have them wanting to trade in this situation. I think, like you said, Keaton Wagler, if they have Giddey to bring the ball up and distribute, but Wagler shoots 42% from 3. I think you want to go add a wing player or a big. I don't think the Bulls are positioned to win anytime soon anyway. So I think if you got Giddey, you got to get a couple wings and players who can shoot at guard, and then you start piling in the bigs in future years and maybe even free agency, you can then kind of cook with some fire.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. If Wagler is there, that is marvelous. That would be absolutely incredible. It's not impossible. He could be there. So let's move on to the Bucks, who I guess, depending on how you look at it, there are two ways to go about this. Is Giannis here or Giannis not? Are you preparing for a season with Giannis? Or are you preparing for a season without Giannis? That's kind of the way I broke it down. Let me see if I can find my notes here. Okay. Yeah, I said it's depending how they treat the Giannis trade. I said if he's out the door, instantly try to replace him. Another team that I think should trade up if Giannis is not going to be there, you need to go get a home run level player, even if that's Caleb Wilson, even if it's Darius Acuff. I still think those guys can be face of the franchise players. If he is going to be there, though, I think what did I put for them? Yeah, I had LeBaron Philin or Philon. I don't know how the last names, but LeBaron would be my pick here for the Milwaukee Bucks. Incredible scoring guard. I don't give a damn what those advanced analytics say about him defensively. He's a dog, passing lane freak. I think he's a good on-ball defender, even though he's quoted to have a smaller wingspan. Don't really care about that. He's a dog. So I think that mix of scoring and defense, that's going to be a perfect fit alongside Giannis. And I don't really think he gets in the way too much of, a Ryan Rollins, if Cam Thomas resigns, time will tell. I think he would he doesn't have to start, honestly. Cam Thomas can still start, but they can run two different units, and I think it would be pretty seamless. They're both professional bucket getters.
Yeah. I don't have them taking him here from the Bucks. I do have them taking to kind of best player available, and in my side, it's Braylon Mullins. I think, like you said, though, they have to decide whether they're going Giannis forward or Giannis less forward. I think both are viable options, and they don't have the decision to even do that. I think Giannis has the decision. If LeBron wanted out of Cleveland, LeBron would leave Cleveland. Giannis is the same way. If Giannis doesn't want to be in Milwaukee, he's not going to be in Milwaukee. And that's how you have to treat it. But the better they know, it's better to know sooner than later if you're Milwaukee. So I think they probably have a good understanding on the back end. And obviously, they did shop at the deadline. They just never got anything done. So I think deals were closer to being done than people would think.
Yeah. Chris, what do you have the Bucks doing with the 10th pick?
I have the Bucks trying to trade it. And the reason I say that is because I think they're Giannis forward. It seems like it. Until he acts out, he won't be traded. That's just my opinion.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah.
Until he acts out, I think he won't be traded. So I think they'll try to get a good player with it. I think Cam Thomas does resign if they're smart. Or at least, I mean, I know KPJ isn't the greatest person in the world, but he's a very good basketball player. So if KPJ's back with Rollins, I think you try to go get another good player to slot next to Giannis, Miles, KPJ, Cam, and kind of complete your starting five. So I think they try to trade it. It's just I'm not sure what's going to be available, but they need a wing. And I would try to trade it for a wing, a small forward. Like not necessarily Dylan Brooks, because obviously he was traded, but some type of deal like that where you get a guy who can play both sides of the ball, who's going to be able to slide in and compete for championships, which Giannis wants to do. And if he's going to stay with the Bucks, is what the Bucks have to do to keep him. So I would look for them to trade the pick. But if they don't, I would have them going with Hannes Steinbach from Washington, bigger freshman, 6'10" forward from UW. Pretty raw still, but I think he's a guy who can easily come in and score off of good creators, with Giannis being a creator by default and having Rollins and KPJ in the backcourt. I think he's a guy who could come in and help right away. So that'd be my pick at 10. But I would first look to trade to try to upgrade that small forward position.
Yeah, I definitely considered Steinbach for the Bucks, but I think giving him time to potentially develop on one of these like better teams at the end of the lottery would be like marvelous for him. Just talking from like a him standpoint. But let's talk about a team that could definitely play with their food with their pick, the Oklahoma City Thunder. They have the Clippers pick from the infamous Paul George trade. I'm about to start calling that the SGA trade because that's really who matters here. Chris, who do you think the Thunder would go with, or what do you think they potentially do with the pick?
I think that backcourt gets expensive with Isaiah Joe. Dort's a small forward, but they keep having his shooting guard, so I'll name him. Caruso's probably out the door because he's getting expensive. Casey Wallace is going to be up for extension soon. And saying all that, and after all that, the Thunder still have so many players they can play. So I think this is the time to take Elijah Arenas if and when he enters the draft. And I say that because at the very least, he's going to be an elite bench scorer for this team. But also, as Kaysen, as Isaiah Joe, as these guys get more expensive, you get close to that luxury tax. I know they have McCain. Cool on McCain. Elijah Arenas is a 6'6" version of McCain that can actually score outside just shooting threes. So I'm taking Elijah here. I'm betting on the upside. He was the top 3 player in his class before the injuries. Like, he was literally over Boozer for a lot of guys. So I would take Elijah Arenas here because even if he's not ready, you can sit him for a year like you did with Topic, like you did with other guys. He can learn and then be ready to play NBA basketball the next year when you're still competing and still obviously one of the top 3 teams in the West. I just think I'm betting on upside here from the Thunder, and I'm taking Elijah Arenas with 11.
Yeah, Danny,
I love that
Thunder
pick.
doing?
I do love the pick. I love Elijah Arenas. I think he could develop. I think there's some concerns of him even coming out in general just because of injury. But I think if he does come out, I think it could be a perfect pick here for the Thunder, just taking a high upside. But in my scenario, LeBaron Filon does fall. And like Chris says, think of Jared McCain as expendable. You just got him for free, essentially. Just keep drafting guards. The backcourt's going to get expensive. Just keep piling up guards.
Yeah, I'm mad at that pick. So I have them trading back. I'm selfish, and I want to see Jaden Quayton's on this team. Defensive hound fits exactly what they want to do. Raw a little bit still, yes, but that's Oklahoma City is one
would
of
have
the
been a top 5 pick had he not torn his ACL year before. Would have been a top 5 pick. Easy.
Who does that sound like? Nikola Topic was going to go in the top 3.
Man, yeah.
So, yeah, this isn't their first rodeo with guys who fall due to injury, and I think he's one of these players who, it's an in-between thing. Maybe he's a couple-year project, but dang it, if he's ahead of schedule on his development, yeah, he's gonna help us win now. It's gonna be incredible. So I'm excited for him. He's definitely turned it up as of lately. Maybe that's why maybe it's a little bit of recency bias why I'm so high on him now. But um, there was a lot of anticipation on him coming into the season. So and he's starting to really pick it up. I think the Thunder would be good. Maybe trading back into like that 14-15 range. Pray the Spurs aren't on the same timing, and select him.
Super fair.
Yeah. Let's move on to this next pick, which is the Blazers. The Blazers are on the clock. Who would like to start? I think I lost track of who's going first. So
I think Chris just went, so I should be up.
yeah.
I think for me at this point, you've gotten outside of that top first tier is those three players, and you get like a second tier of this top 10-ish players. Outside of now, you get these players who kind of fall out of that. The Blazers obviously could be a candidate to trade up with the current state of their roster. But I wanted them to note that they probably should go get a guy like Braden Burries, someone who can just go play wing and someone who's younger. I don't think they should draft an older player in this draft. There's some juniors, there's some seniors in this class that could come in this stage of the draft. That's where you start to see juniors getting drafted. But I think they should stay on the younger side and go get a 19 to 20-year-old and let them see how they fit on the team.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that. So I had the Blazers. In my world, Steinbach is very much available. Pair him with Donovan Clingan. I think it's very clean cut. The backcourt is still a little messy. Not really sure what they're going to do with Drew Holiday. And, obviously you have Scoot, Shaden Sharp. There's a lot of minutes to go around there. So, clean up that front court a little bit. Pair Clingan with, a running mate for the foreseeable future. I don't think it gets much crazier than that, or uses picking a potential Giannis trade. But
yes,
he wants to play with Drew. That's all I'm saying.
Yes.
And they have Damian Lillard. Sorry, he's going to be taking up a lot of point guard minutes next year.
Yeah, I have a forward I would take here, but it's Jackson Lindenberg from Michigan, because in this place he still falls, and he's like a Denny variant ish. He's a bigger guy who can kind of put on the floor, but you don't really want him to be your main ball handler. So I think with NBA running to that type of style, I think adding another guy like that, when you have guys like Shaden Sharp, Dame will be back next year. You have a lot of scorers already. I think another guy who can get his own shot, but also make the next pass, make the short roll pass, things that we always say are important. I think that's good, especially him being a senior. He's a super senior, actually. He's like 23 already. He's been around. He's been playing for a while. He's been on good teams. He's been on teams where he's been the one or he's been the third or fourth best player. So I think it's the perfect pick for the Blazers here, because they're clearly going to be trying to be competitive with Dame healthy next year.
Yeah. So I just as a spoiler, I have Yaxel going a little bit later. Monk. So here is what Tankathon says about Jackson Lindenberg. He has all the stat strength. Here's his one stat weakness: draft age. He was born one day before me. Ooh, it's rough. That's rough. Not taking it lightly. That's brutal news. But yeah. Let's move to second to last pick of the lottery, which is the Hornets. And I think I'm up first with this one. So with the Hornets, what did I have? Because I think now I'm in a different mindset than what I might have typed up. Yeah, I just said best player available. Don't get too high on your horses to think, we're cool, we'll trade back, we'll load up. Best player available on my board to this point is Braylon Mullins. So I would just take him. Someone who's very capable of playing the two alongside LaMelo. I think he would fit seamlessly next to Khan. Khan obviously can play off ball very well. And then you basically your dynamic duo scorer, dynamic scoring duo of Mullins and Miller would be incredible. So that's why I have the Hornets doing.
Yeah, Chris, you're up.
Yeah, with the Hornets, I have them. It's a name that people might not have heard until late, but I have them taking Thomas Hall from Florida, a 6'9" forward who showed with Khan. It doesn't have to be the flashiest name, especially when you have LaMelo and Brandon Miller already. You have your bona fide scorers. With Khan's actually a bona fide scorer as well. But it's been talked they're going to move off of Miles, but even if they keep Miles, Thomas is a forward who can legitimately come in, space the floor, rebound. He can do all the things that you need your 2026, 2027 power forward to do in the NBA. And I think it's just another guy who's going to add to a winning culture. Like as far as wanting to win, want to do the right things, whether it's the small things, big things, whatever it is, being willing and able to do that. I think Thomas is that type of player. So yeah, I think it's a pretty easy pick from what's left for the Hornets. I think it's just another step in the right direction.
Yeah, I can agree with that, Chris. I think they take a really high upside player here. I don't think the Hornets are a team that's like ready to pounce on winning right now. I think they have the pieces, but I don't think they're like, we need to go in 2027. So in my opinion, they take Koa Pete. I think he could be a high upside player that fits alongside LaMelo, and he could just bring this mindset to this Hornets team, especially with Khan there. I think getting that like stretch four-ish player might help.
I was thinking about Koa P here as well. So yeah, I like what everybody brought to the table on that one, whether it's best player available or, Pete and Hall might fit better. So let's move on to the last pick of the lottery. San Antonio Spurs have the 14th pick from Atlanta. I spoiled it a little bit earlier. I have them taking Yaxel here. We know those seniors, those junior seniors, fifth-year seniors kind of plug into contenders a lot easier because they're ready to win now players. I think he would be a very suitable player to play alongside Wemby or back up Wemby. Actually, I think he could play, truthfully, I think he could play with Wemby or Cornette, even though Cornette isn't exactly a long-term, deal going on there. And having Landenberg could also be very helpful contract-wise because eventually the team's going to get expensive. Dudes are going to need extensions. Cornette probably isn't going to stay around for all that, even though he's paid handsomely for a backup center, I would say. So I have them taking Yaxel here.
Yeah, I also do have taking Yaxel. I think, like you said, you want a plug and play player. He's obviously older than a lot of these young guys on the team, but you want the plug and play player. So
yeah, yep. As I always do, and I was waiting to get to this pick, hoping that we hadn't had too much crazy shakeup because I have the Spurs trading this pick for a package around Michael Porter Jr. And the reason I say that is a forward who can shoot with the size Michael Porter Jr. has. He's literally Harrison Barnes for them times 10. Like he's gonna make big shots. He showed he can make a couple plays this year. He's gonna rebound his position very well. And I think would have been the 14th pick. The Nets continuing to try to get younger, obviously not really competing right now. I think it's a great pick to get for Michael Porter Jr. You can get off of Harrison Barnes. You can maybe put a Keldon in the package, and you go Keldon Harrison for Michael Porter Jr. Keldon Harrison 14 for Michael Porter Jr. I think is a perfect pick. I think the Spurs, they could quite possibly win the championship this year, or at least make the Western Conference Finals. They definitely can. If they lose in the second round, the upgrade I think is only shooting. Because I think the only upgrade that they have is shooting, and being able to add elite shooting with elite size for the position, I think is crazy. You go Wemby, MPJ, D Fox, Castle. That's a good core four for the next 4 or 5 years, in my opinion. I think that helps Castle and it helps Wemby grow because they don't have to continue to shoot more threes than they want to a game because Michael Porter Jr. is going to do that whether you want him to or not. I think that's a good thing for them. And I think Michael Porter Jr., after playing with the Nets, showing what he can do, going to the Spurs, which is one of the best run organizations in the NBA, I think this could be career-altering for Michael Porter Jr. and really, really good for the Spurs. So I would do that.
So assuming this happens in your world, Nets have already taken Cam Boozer. Who do the Nets take with this pick?
Well, I have them taking Koa Pete here. I think they need front court. I think they need front court help really, really badly. Because I'm sure Claxton at some point is going to get moved. I just feel that in my body. I just feel like he's going to get moved at some point. So moving on, especially from this draft, you drafted mad guards last draft. Yegor and Nolan Traore, even if they don't play together, those are two really good. Those are two good enough guards that I think that you don't have to take a guard here. And then you get two good enough big Cam Boozer. Obviously, I'm thinking he's going to be pretty good. And you take a chance on a younger Koa Pete. I think that looks good moving forward. If you at least have some young building blocks to at least not only bring some excitement, but you have something to build off of. So for them, I would do that and go Koa Pete.
Yeah. Well, that's every pick in the lottery from us. They kind of turn into a mock draft a little bit there at the end. But obviously 3 different worlds, 3 different shakeups. Anything could happen. Again, this probably won't even beat the draft order because there's no way Silver lets the ping pong balls be accurate. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Again, make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Audio listeners, leave a like, 5-star review. Make sure you download the episode as well from AP No Freezer, Culture by Migos, DC Comics. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll catch you guys next week.